नमस्कार, गुड इवनिंग टू ऑल। आपका दोस्त और होस्ट सुनील शर्मा आप तमाम लोगों का स्वागत करता है जो लाइव देख रहे हैं दोस्तों, उन सभी का। साथ ही हमारे वेबएक्स सिस्को वेबएक्स पे जो प्यारी प्यारी ऑडियंस है, जो पार्टिसिपेंट्स है, तमाम लोगों का मैं स्वागत करता हूं महासेवा की तरफ से और एमएनएस मीडिया न्यूज की तरफ से दोस्तों। इस खूबसूरत लाइन के साथ में कि इत्र से कपड़ों का महकाना कोई बड़ी बात नहीं। सेंट इत्र, इत्र से कपड़ों का महकाना कोई बड़ी बात नहीं। मजा तो तब आए जब आपके किरदार में खुशबू आए, मजा तो तब आए जब आपके किरदार में खुशबू आए। और हमारे तमाम जो कीनोट स्पीकर हो या हमारे जो पार्टिसिपेंट हैं बड़े खूबसूरत हैं और उनके किरदारों से खुशबू आती है, इस तरह मेरा मानना है। और इस लाइन के साथ मैं शुरुआत करता हूं आज के इस वेबिनार की दोस्तों। और सबसे पहले मैं आपको बता दूं आज का जो विषय है, महत्वपूर्ण विषय है, वो विषय की जानकारी आपको दे दूं। आज जो ट्यूसडे है, वो ट्यूसडे पे हम बात करते हैं एमसीएस एक्ट 1960 की। और आज विषय है हमारा हाइलाइट्स ऑफ लीगल प्रोविजंस रिगार्डिंग हाउसिंग सोसाइटी इन द एमसीएस एक्ट 1960। एंड ये सब्जेक्ट पर इस विषय को आगे लेके जाएंगे एक्सपर्ट, हमारे इस विषय के जानकार, आज के कीनोट स्पीकर एडवोकेट डीबी पाटिल साहब इस विषय को आगे लेके जाएंगे। आज के कीनोट स्पीकर हैं। और दूसरा विषय हमारा बड़ा महत्वपूर्ण विषय है दोस्तों, मेक योर सोसाइटी स्मार्ट सेफ विथ क्लाउड बेस। इस विषय पर बताएंगे मिस्टर रुचिर शाह। ये क्लाउड सॉफ्टवेयर है, इसके बारे में किस तरह से काम करता है, तमाम जानकारी आपको देंगे। तो मैं दोनों कीनोट स्पीकर मिस्टर रुचिर शाह और डीबी पाटिल साहब का स्वागत करता हूं। और साथ ही आज के हमारे इस वेबिनार के मॉडरेटर हैं मिस्टर राजीव सक्सेना, जो महासेवा टास्क फोर्स के चेयरमैन हैं और साथ ही माय सोसाइटी क्लब के फाउंडर, सीईओ, डायरेक्टर हैं। तो उनका भी स्वागत करता हूं दोस्तों। तो मैं आज के जो कीनोट स्पीकर है हमारे डीबी पाटिल साहब, डीबी पाटिल साहब फार्मर डीडीआर हैं। आपको पूरा परिचय हमारे जो कीनोट मॉडरेटर है राजीव सक्सेना जी बताएंगे। लेकिन डीबी पाटिल साहब का जो जीवन सफर रहा है, और अभी साहब एडवोकेट है और अभी भी सर्विस तमाम दे रहे हैं पूना में, महाराष्ट्र में, मुंबई में। तो मैं उनको राहत साहब की इस खूबसूरत लाइन के साथ उनके जो सफर है, शानदार सफर के लिए मैं जोशपूर्ण सफर के लिए स्वागत करता हूं महासेवा की तरफ से और एमएनएस मीडिया न्यूज सर्विस की तरफ से दोस्तों। कि आंखों में पानी रखो, आंखों में पानी रखो, होठों पे चिंगारी रखो, आंखों में पानी रखो, होठों पे चिंगारी रखो। जिंदा रहना है तो तरकीब बहुत सारी रखो, जिंदा रहना है तो तरकीबें बहुत सारी रखो। राह के पत्थर से बढ़कर कुछ नहीं है मंजिलें, राह के पत्थर से बढ़कर कुछ नहीं है मंजिलें। रास्ते आवाज देते हैं, रास्ते आवाज देते हैं, सफर जारी रखो, सफर जारी रखो। ऐसे हमारे डीबी पाटिल साहब का शानदार सफर रहा और आगे भी बहुत शानदार सफर रहेगा। इस सफर के लिए हम उनका स्वागत करते हैं तालियों के साथ में, जोशपूर्ण लाइन के साथ में, राहत साहब की लाइन के साथ में दोस्तों। और हमारे मिस्टर रुचिर शाह का भी स्वागत है। और इसी के साथ में आगे की बागडोर के लिए मैं मिस्टर राजीव सक्सेना जी को बागडोर सौंपता हूं आगे की। राजीव जी आए और आगे की बागडोर शुरुआत करें। जी राजीव जी।
धन्यवाद शर्मा जी, बहुत बहुत आभार आपका और एमएनएस मीडिया एंड महासेवा का, जिसके द्वारा हम यह निरंतर प्रयास करते जा रहे हैं। तो हमारे जो आज के स्पीकर हैं, आज के जो कीनोट स्पीकर है श्री डीबी पाटिल जी, एडवोकेट डीबी पाटिल जी, जो फॉर्मर डीडीआर है, रिटायर हुए हैं डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ कोऑपरेशन से आफ्टर वर्किंग 30 years एज ए रजिस्ट्रार इनटू डिफरेंट रीजन. He worked in Mumbai, Pune, Satara, Aurangabad, Latur, Nasik. Mr. Patil has worked in the Mantralaya, also has worked as a secretary to Commissioner of Cooperation and Registrar. He was working as a special duty with the Minister of Cooperation, worked as a special officer on duty for loan waiver scheme for the farmer with government of Maharashtra. And now he is practicing as an advocate and he's a consultant to many public housing society, giving lectures, giving the consultation to many societies. So ऐसे हमारे साथ में अनुभवी हैं जो आज हमको महाराष्ट्र कोऑपरेटिव सोसाइटी एक्ट में जो नए परिवर्तन है, क्या प्रावधान है सीएचएस के रिलेटेड, उसके बारे में जानकारी देंगे। तो आई वुड लाइक टू वेलकम मिस्टर डी पाटिल जी, ओवर टू यू।
So today we will look into the specific provisions of the Maharashtra Cooperative Societies Act, wherein there is a separate chapter in the Maharashtra Cooperative Societies Act 1960, and the chapter is numbered as 13B. In fact, there are many chapters in the act. जैसे कि कोई प्रिलिमिनरी चीजें हैं, रजिस्ट्रेशन के बारे में है, मेंबर्स एंड देयर राइट्स एंड लायबिलिटीज के बारे में एक सेपरेट चैप्टर है, इनकॉर्पोरेशन ड्यूटीज, प्रिविलेजेस एटसेट्रा के बारे में भी अलग सा एक चैप्टर है, और हाउसिंग सोसाइटी के अलावा अर्बन कोऑपरेटिव बैंक के लिए भी एक चैप्टर है, और उस हाउसिंग से जस्ट पहले कोऑपरेटिव क्रेडिट सोसाइटी के लिए भी एक चैप्टर इसमें इंट्रोड्यूस किया गया। सबसे पुराना चैप्टर तो लैंड डेवलपमेंट बैंक के लिए बनाया गया था, अभी भी है, पर पिछले काफी दिनों से वह बैंक लिक्विडेशन में है। तो सिर्फ चैप्टर एक्ट में रखने से कोई सोसाइटी अपने आप नहीं चलती, उसे हमें चलाना पड़ता है। We have to take responsibility of running a society, and then things do move. So ऐसे इसमें काफी चैप्टर हैं, चैप्टर के करीब चैप्टर कोऑपरेटिव सोसाइटीज एक्ट में लाए गए हैं। तो आज हम चैप्टर 13B के बारे में बातें करेंगे। तो डिटेल में प्रोविजन देखेंगे और हर प्रोविजन का क्या मीनिंग है, क्या दायरा है, हमें उससे क्या लाभ है, हमारे लिए क्या उसमें रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी दी गई है, वो हम देखें। तो कानून के जितने भी सेक्शन हैं उसमें से कई सेक्शन ऐसे कि ऐसे हाउसिंग सोसाइटी को भी लग जाएंगे, हाउसिंग सोसाइटी को भी उनका वो अप्लाई हो जाएगी। तो वो सेक्शन के नंबर पहले सेक्शन में दिए गए हैं। जैसे कि रजिस्ट्रेशन है तो सेक्शन 9 विल लुक आफ्टर द रजिस्ट्रेशन। जैसे कि इलेक्शन है तो इलेक्शन के बारे में भी जो मेन एक्ट है उसके प्रोविजन लगेंगे। तो जो भी जितनी भी सारी मेजर थिंग है अदर सोसाइटी को भी वो अप्लाई होती है, वैसे ही इसी में कुछ बातें सीधी और अप्लाई होगी। जो रेस्ट ऑफ द थिंग्स है तो हम आप देख लेंगे एक के बाद। तो इसमें कई डेफिनेशन गए हैं। सेक्शन का नंबर है 154B1। तो पहला डेफिनेशन जैसे अल्फाबेटिकली रहता है ये डेफिनेशन, तो पहला डेफिनेशन है एसोसिएशन ऑफ अ सोसाइटी। तो पहले तो सिर्फ कोऑपरेटिव सोसाइटीज एक्ट में फेडरेशन बनते थे, और महाराष्ट्र में स्टेट लेवल के कम से कम 22 फेडरेशन बने हुए हैं। हाउसिंग सोसाइटी का भी एक फेडरेशन बना है, जैसे आप जानते हैं जिसका ऑफिस चर्च गेट के पास है, तो वो हाउसिंग सोसाइटी का फेडरेशन है, वो स्टेट लेवल फेडरेशन है। ईच डिस्ट्रिक्ट से एक डायरेक्टर चुन के आते हैं और वो फेडरेशन को चलाते हैं। वैसे तो फिलहाल आज की तारीख में तो फेडरेशन में ज्यादा काम नहीं हो रहा है, कई वजह है उसकी, पर वो एक फेडरेशन है। वैसे तो 22 फेडरेशन है। तो फेडरेशन ऐसे बनते थे, शुगर फैक्ट्री के लिए अलग फेडरेशन है, अर्बन बैंक के लिए अलग फेडरेशन है, ऐसे। तो अभी इसमें डिस्टिंक्शन आया है कि हाउसिंग सोसाइटी का फेडरेशन तो होगा ही होगा, वो अभी डिस्ट्रिक्ट और तालुका लेवल पे भी होगा, फिर एक अलग सा उसी में का एक छोटा सा तबका एसोसिएशन ऑफ सोसाइटी नाम से जाना जाएगा। कि एसोसिएशन ऑफ सोसाइटी के लिए 2 मेंबर से भी एसोसिएशन बन सकती है। जैसे कि कोई कॉम्प्लेक्स है, उसी में 2 सोसाइटी है और वो सोसाइटी चलानी है, कुछ कॉमन इश्यूज है तो उसके लिए वो दोनों सोसाइटी का एक एसोसिएशन बन सकता है। और ये डीम कन्वेंस के लिए भी ये एसोसिएशन एक वैलिड एंटिटी है, और ये प्लॉट मैनेजमेंट के लिए और अदर कॉमन एमिनिटीज के लिए ऐसी एसोसिएशन बन सकती है। जैसे कि मैंने हाउसिंग फेडरेशन का बोला आपको, तो हाउसिंग फेडरेशन का स्टेटस लेने के लिए हाउसिंग फेडरेशन को गवर्नमेंट के गैजेट में उसका नोटिफिकेशन होना चाहिए। मीन्स अ फेडरल बॉडी नोटिफाइड बाय द गवर्नमेंट इन द ऑफिशियल गैजेट to be representative of the registered societies of the specified area. For example, एक थाना है, कल्याण है, भिवंडी है, तो आज तो भिवंडी का नाम याद आना ही आना है, बहुत बड़ी दुर्घटना हुई है वहां। तो वो एरिया के लिए हाउसिंग फेडरेशन ऐसे बनते हैं कि वो all societies would become member of that federation and that federation will look after the interest of the societies and represent the societies at government and other levels. That this federation will take part in the policy making process of the government. तो ये ऐसे हाउसिंग फेडरेशन है। नेक्स्ट स्लाइड प्लीज। डेफिनेशन में आगे लिखा गया है डिफॉल्टर के बारे में। तो डिफॉल्टर का डेफिनेशन बड़ा क्लियर किया है, पहली बार ऐसा हुआ है। इसमें लिखा है डिफॉल्टर मीन्स a member or a flat owner or occupier who fails to pay the dues of the society within 3 months from the date of service of bill or notice or due date of payment, whichever is latter. So even an occupier, society can proceed now against an occupier too. This is very innovative and first time provision. पहले तो मेंबर्स के खिलाफ ही कर सकते थे। दूसरा है फ्लैट ओनर भी। यदि एक फ्लैट ओनर है पर उन्होंने मेंबरशिप के लिए अप्लाई किया नहीं, वो मेंबर बने ही नहीं, या मेंबर बनने का बने हैं पर उनका एप्लीकेशन मेंबरशिप के लिए आया है पर वो पेंडिंग है, ऐसे उनके खिलाफ भी सोसाइटी अब डिफॉल्ट के लिए प्रोसीड हो सकती है। ये नया प्रावधान आया है, डेफिनेशन में डिफॉल्टर का आया है। ड्यूज का भी डेफिनेशन एकदम क्लियर किया गया पहली बार। ड्यूज मीन्स द अमाउंट पेएबल बाय अ मेंबर और अ फ्लैट ओनर to the society and demanded by the society by issuing a bill or notice in writing. So dues are to be defined only after demand is issued, only after notice in writing is issued, and if the dues are not paid within certain period, then society is entitled to proceed. So dues are have to be defined only after a notice or demand. हाउसिंग सोसाइटीज में नेक्स्ट जो डेफिनेशन दिया गया है चैप्टर में, इट इज अबाउट द टाइप्स ऑफ कोऑपरेटिव हाउसिंग सोसाइटी। सो हाउ मेनी टाइप्स आर देयर? देयर आर 3 टाइप्स ऑफ कोऑपरेटिव हाउसिंग सोसाइटीज। द फर्स्ट इज टेनेंट ओनरशिप हाउसिंग सोसाइटी, अनदर इज टेनेंट को पार्टनरशिप हाउसिंग सोसाइटी, एंड थर्ड इज अदर टाइप ऑफ हाउसिंग सोसाइटीज। तो पहले टेनेंट ओनरशिप के बारे में देखेंगे। तो पुणे या जैसे बड़े बड़े शहरों में या छोटे छोटे शहरों में हाउसिंग सोसाइटी प्लॉट्स की बनी होती है, जो खंडित जमीन के भूखंड है, टुकड़े हैं उसके। तो एक प्लॉट एक मेंबर को दिया जाता है और उनका सोसाइटी बनता है, तो वो मेंबर ओनर है वहां पे प्लॉट के, इसलिए ये सोसाइटी को ओनरशिप हाउसिंग सोसाइटी कहा जाता है। टेनेंट को पार्टनरशिप में क्या कहा गया है? ये तो फ्लैट टाइप सोसाइटी है, एक के ऊपर दूसरा घर है, दूसरे के ऊपर तीसरा घर है, ये बहुमंजिला इमारत है, और यहाँ एक ही भूखंड पे एक ही जमीन के टुकड़े के ऊपर पूरी सोसाइटी बनी हुई है, बिल्डिंग बनी हुई है, तो इनको को पार्टनरशिप कहते हैं। तो इसमें ओनरशिप इज कॉमनली एंड जॉइंटली हेल्ड बाय द सोसाइटी एज वेल एज द परचेसर्स, बायर्स एंड मेंबर्स। सो ये कॉमनली होल्ड प्रॉपर्टी होने की वजह से इसे को पार्टनरशिप कहा गया है। अदर हाउसिंग सोसाइटीज में हाउस मॉर्गेज सोसाइटी है, हाउस कंस्ट्रक्शन सोसाइटी है, प्रीमाइसेस सोसाइटी है, ऑफिस सोसाइटी है, इंडस्ट्रियल सोसाइटी है, कमर्शियल सोसाइटी है। हम तो बंबई में देखते हैं कि प्रीमाइसेस सोसाइटी भी है, जहां छोटे छोटे उद्योग चलते हैं, या फिर कोई इंडस्ट्रियल भी सोसाइटी है, काफी इंडस्ट्रियल यूनिट्स इकट्ठा एक सोसाइटी में बने हुए हैं और उनका एक सोसाइटी है, या फिर सिर्फ शॉप है या फिर ऑफिसेस है, उनका एक सोसाइटी बनता है। ये अदर टाइप ऑफ हाउसिंग सोसाइटीज में है। तो 154B1 में मेंबर का भी डेफिनेशन दिया गया है और उनके टाइप्स भी दिए गए हैं। तो हु इज मेंबर ऑफ अ हाउसिंग सोसाइटी? A person joining in an application for the registration of a housing society which is subsequently registered, or a person duly admitted as membership of a society after registration is a member. So the person who is signing the application for registration after registration automatically becomes member. After registration, a person has an eligible person has to apply for membership, and once his application is granted the membership, he becomes a member. Then there are other these members are divided into various types, like joint member. Joint member is a person who holds share, right, title and interest in the flat jointly with the another person who has already become member or whose name stands first in the share certificate. In the share certificate, you have to write names one after the other. So the one name is written, first name is written is called member, and the next name who is also co-owner of the property is a joint owner. So joint member he becomes. Third category is associate member. Associate member is not holding any interest in the right title interest of the flat, but he is related to the members by as a kith or kin. For example, he is husband or wife, father or mother, brother or daughter, son or daughter, son-in-law, daughter-in-law, nephew, niece, or any of them who is recommended as associate member by the uh, member. So this is the another category. Then this act has newly introduced a category which is called provisional member. So provisional members are members in the, we can say they are members in the waiting. They are temporarily admitted as a member. There are some confirmation is yet to be required, some documents are to be submitted and other things like. So duly admitted as a member of a housing society, temporarily after death of a member on the basis of nomination till the admission of legal heir or heirs as member. So this is fourth category, a new one. In the next slide, we see that registration of cooperative societies. So in the main act, there was a provision that only 10 families can come together and form a society. But now this provision is amended and now only 5 persons. Look at the word, 5 persons, each of such person being a member of different family can form a society. So condition of 10 is reduced to 5. Then another very important provision which has been introduced in the act, which I would like to highlight, that only 51% need to join the society. Then society formed. 51% is enough for registration, who are qualified to become registration, and they can join the application and they becomes members and housing society is registered. Then section 154b3, the next section, talks about reservation of name and permission for opening a bank account. Actually, this is a first step. We apply for name reservation. Registrar goes through his register, and if the name is available, he would check, and then he would permit, and the name reservation, and he would also permit the opening of a bank account. Bank account is opened as per the another provisions in the act, and you cannot utilize the amount collected as a share capital. It is to be kept into the bank account. A balance certificate is obtained, it is submitted to the registrar. So application for reservation of name and opening of bank account is a new provision in the act. Earlier it was done through a circular of the Commissioner Corporation. There was no provision, express provision in the act. Now this act provision is made. So 51% people would sign the application and there would be a registration of a society. Then we have seen the associate joint membership. These things are we have seen. Right to contest an election shall be subject to the provisions of section 154(11). We'll see what is that. Then for the first time, this act provides for limit on membership. So why there is a limit on the membership? So we have seen that if there is a society of a plot type, and if there are only say 15 or say 50 plots in the society, we have seen that some committees have enrolled 100 members as members of the society. So only 50 members are allotted the plots and rest of members are in the waiting. Then we have also seen that in some cases this has created trouble. So this limit is put. So what they say, housing society shall not admit to its membership persons exceeding the number of flats or plots as the case may be available for allotment in that cooperative housing society. So this restriction is there. If in case this restriction is not followed, there will be action initiated against the society. So plot owner society also and flat owner society also membership restriction is there. Section 154(b)(6) provides for cooperative education training to members. Due to COVID-19 situation, we have seen that there is a good amount of training sessions being conducted regularly, and Mahaseva is one of the in this program. So 154(b)(6) provides for cooperative education and training. We have seen that the 97th constitutional amendment has provided compulsory for cooperative training to members, and this is the main duty of the managing committee to arrange for such trainings. So every society may organize cooperative education training for its members, officers and employees also through state, federal cooperative societies and apex training institutions to ensure effective and active participation of members. We have seen that members do not participate in the discussion, and many of them are not knowing what are their rights and what are their duties. So this provision is there in that. Cooperative education and training to members is for 2-3 purposes. One is ensure effective active participation. Another is to groom talented employees. Another is development of professional skills through cooperative education and training. Every member of a committee, whether elected, co-opted, nominated, or whatever, he has to undergo such cooperative training education. Then government has already specified some 11 cooperative and non-cooperative institutions together as authentic training institutions, just like Vamnicom or State Cooperative Union, or Yashada in Pune, or Reserve Bank of India Training College, like that institutions have been declared as cooperative training institutions. Cooperative education, then there is a cooperative training fund. Every society has to keep some amount aside and use that amount for cooperative training purposes and promotion of cooperative movement in the state. So government will issue guidelines regarding this, and then how to go about it will be clear. Cooperative education training fund shall be used for the purposes of the training to the members. Then section 154(b)(7), a new section, of course. This talks about restriction on transfer of shares. Actually, the word restriction should be read as a preconditions for transfer of shares of interest of a member. So what are the preconditions for the transfer of share of the members? the member has to clear all the dues of the society if he wants to transfer his share. That is first condition. Second is the transferee has to apply for membership to the housing society, and his application will be decided in due course of time. So along with the property tax, corporation bills, water supply bills, and all other bills are to be paid, electricity bills, etc. before transferring share certificate. In the same way, society's dues have to be paid. The plot on which the society is erected or a building is erected, if that plot is leased in, if the society is a lessee, the precondition will be also governed by the lease agreement as well. If the lease agreement says that certain condition has to be fulfilled by the incoming member, then these conditions have to be fulfilled by the incoming member. So one has to adhere to the lease conditions as well. Section 154B8 talks about rights of members to inspect the documents. The main MCS Act, Section 32 and Rule 27 talks about right to inspection and right to see the documents. This, for the first time, this subsection 8 talks about rights of members to inspect the documents of the society. What are the documents which needs to be kept ready for inspection? The documents have been enumerated. Copy of the act, that is Maharashtra Cooperative Societies Act, of which we are talking about. Then the rules under that, the bylaws, the registered bylaws of the society, the last audited annual balance sheet of the society, the profit and loss account of the society, a list of members of the committee and their addresses, register of the members, the minutes of general meeting, minutes of the committee meeting, that is managing committee meeting, and those portions of books and records in which his transactions with the society have been recorded. For example, his account he can see, but he cannot see those portions of the books and records in which others transactions have been recorded. So these are the 9 provisions, 9 information types which need to be given to a member. What happens if society refuses to show the information, or what is the time when the information is to be given? Every society has to give information within 45 days to the member after receiving his application, or if it is a society on a government land or government share capital, then such society has to furnish information within 30 days to the requested to the member. So this is the 30 days and 45 days gap. We have to provide the information. Then section 154B9 talks about removal of a member. The main act, section 35, talks about expulsion of member. So similar provisions are there. A removal of a member. When any question arises in respect of membership of a person to whom he has been duly admitted as membership or has been admitted in violation of the provisions of this act. So कानून के उल्लंघन किया तो कानून का वायलेशन किया तो उनको निकाला जा सकता है. रजिस्ट्रार में himself remove a person as a member, or he may remove after on an application. However, such application shall be decided within 3 months after hearing the parties. अब जिनको निकाला जा रहा है वो मेंबर का जो भी कुछ कहना है उसे सुनना रजिस्टर के लिए कंपलसरी किया गया है. सो उनको अपॉर्चुनिटी देना चाहिए. Subsection 10 talks about the rights and duties of a member. What are the rights and duties of a member? A member shall be, next slide please. A member shall be entitled to exercise such rights as provided under this act, rules and the bylaws. So if a society wants to provide additional rights or uh, additional rights for the members, they can incorporate them in their bylaws, and member has all the rights as available in the act and the rules. So what are the rights talks about this section? This section talks about every member of housing society to whom a land or plot is allotted is entitled to issue of certificate of allotment in the prescribed format, and member is entitled to use such a dwelling unit or flat as per the terms of allotment. These are the rights. Next slide please. Except when there is a contract to the contrary, or a member of a cooperative society shall not be entitled to any interest in the, but every member who wants to exercise his rights have to clear all the payments to the society. He has to clear, say if it is a plot type society and if plots are allotted by the society, he has to pay all the amount of the plot as called for by the society. And in case of other societies like flat type society, he has to pay all the dues if he wants to exercise his right. Then no member shall be eligible for being appointed, nominated, elected, co-opted, or for being a member of society if he is a defaulter of the society. Section 70 FF of the earlier act talks about defaulter of any society. That act talks about if he wants to become a committee member, then he has to clear he has to clear all the dues and he should not be a defaulter. We have seen the definition of defaulter in the beginning. Subsection 5 talks about it shall be the duty of a member of the society to pay the dues of the society within time as directed by the society in its general meeting. This is another duty. Member shall vacate the flat when required for redevelopment of the building or buildings of the society as decided in general body meeting. Member shall perform his duties as provided in this act, rules and the bylaws. So subsection 5(2) talks about vacation of the flat if building goes for reconstruction. So this is a new provision. Earlier act didn't talk about it. No circular ever talked about it. So this is to be new provision we need to take into consideration. Then subsection 6 talk about associate member shall have right to contest the election to the committee with prior written consent of a member. So associate member now can become a committee member. So this is a new thing. We need to note it. For the first time, a person who doesn't hold right title interest in the society can become a committee member if he is an associate member. So if he is associated by a relationship or a by marriage, then he can become a member. An action contemplated against the original member in that shall be applicable to such associate member. So associate member, though he can become a committee member, he and all the acts of all the provisions of that will also be applicable to him, and he would be equally responsible as if he is a full-time member. Now section 11 talks about voting rights of a member. No member of a society shall have more than one vote in its affairs. These votes are to be exercised personally. And if there is a tie in a managing committee meeting say equality of votes, then chairman shall have a casting vote in the meeting of the society. So if in a general body meeting, if votes are divided equally, then chairman shall have a casting vote. An associate member shall have a right to vote with prior written consent of a member. This section 11 and 2 talks about this right of an associate member who can attend a general body meeting and with the written consent of the member. Actually, the main act talks that no proxy is allowed, but here he is associate member, so he is not a proxy, but only written consent is required. Then provisional member also have a right to vote. This is also a new thing. A member who has applied for membership and his application is yet to be approved, but it is pending for certain document or some compliances. In that case, provisional member also have a right to vote. The new provision. Subsection 11 talks about voting rights of members. 4. In case of a joint member, the person whose name stands first in the share certificate shall have right to vote. If there are two members pertaining to one flat, and if they both of them have a right title interest in the property, and both of them appear their names in the share certificate, so the first person shall vote. If he is not present, then second person shall vote. If second is not present, then third person, if he is there on the share certificate, he can vote. So thus the right is given to all the members. But only one vote is available. So as we said that either of them can vote. If first is not available, then second will vote. If second is not available, then third will vote. In case of an association, authorized member shall have right to vote. So we have seen that association consists of housing societies. So housing society will nominate an authorized member to vote on its behalf in the affairs of the association. In case of a company or a firm or a partnership or a local authority or a body corporate or any legal entity, such legal entity, company, firm or partnership firm may send its director or a person, any one of the partners appointed by the firm shall have the right. So the person or the company can appoint and authorize the director. The condition is that that person has to be a director or a partner of that firm or the company, or he has to be authorized as a legal representative of that body corporate. These are the conditions. So in the next slide we'll see 12, transfer of share right, title, interest. A member may transfer his share right, title and interest of his property in the society by way of registered document by following the due procedure as provided in the laws. So the Bombay Stamp Act, Transfer of Property Act, all these act will be applicable. So if I want to transfer my right, title and interest to another person, I will have to go through this process. I will have to approach sub-registrar's office, prepare a document and pay the necessary fees, and also pay consideration to get the right title and interest. This is very important provision. Not one cannot transfer the right title interest without uh, going through these two acts. So subsection 13 talks about transfer of interest on death of a member. If a member is dead, then his interest, right and title shall be transferred to a person or persons on the basis of testamentary documents or succession certificate or legal heirship certificate or a family arrangement. So this is a new provision talks about family arrangement. So the other provisions talks about testamentary documents, succession certificate and legal heirship. They are already provided in other acts where property talks about the transfer is decided. Now this is the fourth provision, that is a family arrangement executed by the persons who are entitled to inherit the property of the deceased person. So this is a very important provision. Provide that society shall admit nominee as a provisional member after death of a member till legal heirs or a person who is entitled to the flat or with this is first transfer to the nominee is a temporary transfer. If after this, after death of a member, it is decided with whom society should deal. Society should deal with the nominee. Society will transfer the share to the nominee. How long the nominee will hold the share? Till he himself proves that he is a legal heir, or some legal heir comes in and he proves that he is a legal heir. In such case, then thereafter, as per the succession laws, the legal heir will take over the membership. The provision there is a proviso to this section, provided further that if no person has been so nominated, then society shall admit such person as provisional member as may appear to the committee to be the heir or legal representative of the deceased member. So society is given, I won't say society is given liberty, but I will say that society, in the absence of a nomination, can enroll another person as a provisional member who appears to the society as a legal representative or heir of the deceased member. Section 14 talks about charge of society in respect of share and interest of a member. Now, for the first time in the Cooperative Societies Act, this is made clear that society has a first charge on share and interest of the member or a past member or a deceased member to the extent of dues payable. So when if flat is mortgaged to a bank or say whatever, or if it is attached for some legal proceedings, in any case, society shall have right first charge to the extent of its dues, not beyond that. So society has first charge. This is a very clear provision. Then societies have to create certain funds, and from time to time, this talks about section 14, and section 16 talks about levy of charges by the society. Every society shall levy the charges as prescribed towards such funds. So what could be the funds? Repair and maintenance fund is there. Reconstruction of a society could be a fund, another fund. Education and training could be another fund. So such funds could be created by the society, and their reserve fund is there. That is a compulsory fund. Now section 17 talks about investment. What is investment? Investment of these collected funds of the members. Where they are to be invested? It is made clear that we have to put these funds in a district central cooperative bank of that district, which is having audit class A during last 3 consecutive years. And if no such central bank is available, then you have to invest in a nationalized bank. This is very clear made in this section. So first and foremost is the district central cooperative bank, if it is having a audit class. So we have to see every year what is the audit class allotted to the district central cooperative bank in which such funds are invested. If audit class is downgraded for certain year, in that year it is the duty of the managing committee to withdraw the funds and transfer them to a nationalized bank. So there are only two options of banking. It has to be either nationalized bank or a district central cooperative bank with audit class A. Then society can invest in Indian, as per the Indian Trust Act, section 20, the security stated therein, or in the shares or security bonds or debentures issued by any other society with limited liability. So what is mean here by any other society? It is a federation or association of housing societies, that is any other society. So its share our housing society can purchase. In any other mode permitted by the rules or the general or special order issued in that behalf by the state government. So far, no general or special order issued by the government to the housing societies regarding where to invest its funds, and there are no rules as yet declared regarding this. So this provision will ignore. Section 18 talks about utilization of these funds. So funds mentioned in foregoing subsections shall be utilized for the purposes as may be specified in the bylaws. So purpose objects are there in the bylaws. These are the objects we want to achieve, and general body meeting resolution is there which has permitted creation of such funds, and its use is also defined therein. Corpus fund may be utilized for the purposes as may be decided in the general meeting I told you. Section 19 talks about constitution of a committee. Indian Constitution 97th Amendment talks about maximum limit of managing committee members. So maximum limit is 21. Then 97th Amendment also talks about a reservation of seats. So these provisions are incorporated. Reservation is incorporated in this act, and the number is also limit is also adhered to. So committee shall consist of such members as may be decided by the state government by notification or a special order. So no notification is issued, no special order is issued so far regarding housing societies, but model bylaws are issued by this government, by the registrar under section 14. So as per the model bylaws, there are restrictions on number of committee members. The committee of the society shall stand constituted on the date of declaration of results of the election by the committee by the returning officer, where more than 2/3 of the committee members are elected. So if there is a committee of say 21 people, then 2/3 comes to 14. So 14 plus 1, that is 15. If 15 people are elected, then election results will be declared. It talks about the term of the office. It is a 5-year terms. So all confusions are removed. In old bylaws, in certain bylaws, there was a 3 years term. In certain bylaws, there was a rotation. So every year, a certain number of people would resign, and certain number of people would be added. So there was in certain societies there was a rotation. In certain societies there was 3 years terms. In certain societies 5 years. In certain societies 7 years. So all these confusions have been removed. Now term is 5 years, and committee member, office bearers of the committee, their term is also co-terminus with the term of the elected members. And any casual vacancy may be filled by co-option, and the term of co-opted member shall be co-terminus. This notwithstanding anything, this section 20 talks about. Notwithstanding anything contained in this act, there is a reservation. What are the reservations of the committee? One member belonging to SC or ST, one member belonging to backward classes, and one member belonging to nomadic tribes and special backward classes. So these are the provisions. And any individual member of the society, of any elected committee, any member of the committee, whether co-opted, elected, appointed, belonging to the scheduled caste, backward classes, shall be eligible to contest election. These are the provisions. Scheduled caste is as per the constitution, all those things are there. so we'll not go into that. So who holds the certificate of scheduled caste or scheduled tribe is enabled to contest the reserve seats. If there are no member of belonging to the SC, ST or VJNT or said nomadic tribes, etc., then such seats will remain vacant, and the vacancy will not be counted for quorum. These are the other related provisions. And there is a reservation for women too. Committee shall have at least two women members, and if all members are if societies of women only, in such cases the reservation will not apply. The members of reserved categories are not available or elected to fill the reserved seat. Such reserved seats shall not be counted for. I told you this, counted for strengths. This is section 22. Section 23 talks about disqualification of committee and its members without prejudice to the other provisions of the act or the rules made thereunder. No person shall be eligible to be appointed, nominated, elected, cooperated. This is a very important provision. Please pay attention. If he is a defaulter of any society, the word is any. If he, let us say, if he has borrowed an amount from an urban cooperative bank and he has defaulted in its payment, so he is not eligible to remain on the committee. So this line is very important if he is a defaulter of any society. Then next provision is that if he is carrying on business of letting, subletting, selling of flats in the housing society which he is a member. So brokers cannot become committee members if they are indulged in a business of letting, subletting, selling of the flats in this society. If they are doing business outside the society or in other societies, then this provision will not be invoked. Then next slide. If he has been held responsible for damages to be paid, so for some other violations, some inquiry is conducted of the society and inquiry cost is imposed upon the person, in such cases he will be disqualified. Let us say there is a fraud committed by few committee members and inquiry is conducted, damages are assessed, the committee members are asked to pay the amount to the society, and till they pay the amount they cannot remain on the committee. And if the inquiry cost is also imposed upon them, till the cost is recovered they cannot be remain on the committee. So these are the important provisions of the act. A member who has incurred any disqualification under subsection 1 shall cease to be a member and his seat shall thereupon be deemed to be vacant. There is no need to pass any resolution. There is no need to obtain any order from the registrar's office. This is an automatic and deeming provision. Member of a committee who has ceased to be member on account of incurred qualification shall not be elected, nominated, re-elected till for the 5 years term. These are the important provisions. Next slide. A member of a committee who has ceased to be a member thereof on account of having incurred disqualification other than disqualification referred subsection 2, he shall cease to be exist. If a managing committee office bearer doesn't function in the society, then a committee can pass a resolution to remove them from the office bearer's post. What are the office bearers post? Chairman, vice chairman, secretary, treasurer. These are the posts. So these officers can be removed. So motion of no confidence has to be brought against them. An officer who holds office by virtue of his election to that office shall cease to be such officer if a motion of no confidence is passed. Please pay attention. Is passed at a meeting of a committee by not less than 2/3 majority. Who are present entitled to vote at such meeting, and his office shall be thereupon deemed to be vacant. So these are the provisions, but only rider is that the meeting is to be conducted under the chairmanship of the registrar or his officer, his nominee. A society cannot conduct its own meeting and remove some chairman. They have to approach the registrar's office. The registrar will pass an order, registrar will appoint an officer, and that officer will conduct the meeting. He will preside over, he will count the votes, and he will declare if he is removed or not removed. Management of housing society or housing complex or housing association shall be carried in the manner as prescribed. So rules are not yet framed. So once the rules are framed, we'll look into these provisions. So these are the provisions wherein how to manage a housing complex, how to manage a housing association, or how to manage a housing society. There will be rules regarding them, and the rules will be declared and the rules will be made applicable. Section 26 talks about allotment of plots, flats, or houses through draw of lots. This is a new provision in the Act which was not there earlier. So, if let us say if a land is purchased by few people and they have made a layout, approved layout is there, and plots are to be allotted. In such cases, plots will be allotted only by draw of lots, not arbitrarily and not by whims and fancies of the leaders of that society. So this provision is there. So it is not applicable to flat type societies. Allotment of plots and flat, every member of a society, whether registered after commencement of terms and such conditions as may be. Certificate of allotment, we have seen this. Section 27 talks about obligation of a society to take action and registrar's power to enforce such actions. If any society is required to action against her action for performance of its obligations, responsibilities, and duties as provided in this Act, rules, and the bylaws, the registrar shall pass an order from time to time, and such action shall be taken on such orders. And if the society fails to execute them, the registrar may take appropriate action. Next slide, please. Subsection talks about where any society is required to take any action or to execute the orders as provided in the foregoing subsection, such action is not taken or orders are not executed within the time limit, or if no time is provided within the natural time required for such actions, registrar may himself or through a person authorized by him take such action and execute such orders if it were and recover the amount. So if registrar wants that society has to take certain action and he tells the society to take that action within certain period. If society fails to take that action, he will send his person, his authorized officer. That authorized officer will execute the action and recover the cost from the society. So next slide. Next is society slide talks about if recovery is to be made or if some execution is to be done, then society is to be heard first and thereafter it will be done. The application submitted by a member to the society for a certificate or certificates for sale of his flat, mortgage, it for obtaining loan, it shall be decided by the society within period of 30 days from the date. So this is also very new provision. There was no provision earlier in the Act because the Act was general. Now this is a special and is only for the housing societies. So if a member wants a certificate to sell his flat or to mortgage his flat to obtain a loan, in such cases the managing committee has to decide such period with such application within 30 days. So next obligation on the part of the society talks about so what is the decision? Decision could be either acceptance or rejection. Decision cannot be just pending the application. So within 30 days the society has to inform that whether this application is allowed or rejected. Every society in the areas for which Housing Federation is notified shall contribute to the education training fund. So there are not yet any notification regarding federations. If federations are notified, then that society has to contribute to the training and education fund. And the Housing Federation shall utilize the funds for arranging seminars on issues related to the housing societies. Then imparting training, etc. Special recovery officers are to be provided by the federation to execute the recovery certificates for other purposes as may be notified by the government from time to time. Every notified housing federation shall prepare, declare, and maintain panel of managers and SROs as per the guidelines issued by the registrar from time to time. So, for the first time, a federation has been given certain duty towards its members. So, what are the duties? Federation has to maintain a panel of managers, maintain a panel of SROs, maintain a training and education fund, and provide for training also. So this is very important provision we need to look into. Section 28 talks about Housing Federation and their powers and duties. So if a panel is maintained by the federation, federation maintains the panel, but registrar has been given power to remove a person from the panel. When the person can be removed if his integrity is doubtful, if he has been convicted, or if he has been declared mentally incapable, or if he has misused his position while rendering his service, or if he has failed to discharge his duties. Let us say Housing Society has obtained a recovery certificate under Section 29 and it is sent to the Federation and certain SRO is allotted recovery duty. In such cases, if he fails to recover the amount, his name will be removed from the panel. So these are the new provisions we need to look into. These are another simple riders. He will be heard before his removal, etc., etc. And Federation will also look into required qualifications of auditors, managers, SROs. These qualifications will be decided by the registrar from time to time, and the registrar shall issue orders regarding this. Every notified housing federation shall apply to the registrar for delegation of necessary powers. If SROs are impaneled, if a panel is created, the panel's limbs will be sent to the registrar, and then the registrar will grant them, delegate them powers of recovery. So we know the recovery powers. Will not go into that thing. So section 28 further talks about every society may appoint SRO from such panel for execution of recovery certificates or recovery orders or decrees. Appoint manager from such panel for maintaining records and books of the society. Remuneration of SROs shall be decided by the registrar from time to time. These are the provisions. Then section 29. Section 29 talks about recovery of certain sums and arrears due to the housing societies as arrears of land revenue. Earlier we had section 101. Now this is a section 154B29, specially crafted for the housing societies. Provisions are same. There is not much difference. So housing society has to send a notice to the defaulted members and ask him to pay the dues. If he doesn't pay the dues, the society will approve the registrar. Registrar will issue the notice. After issuing the notice, he will be heard. A recovery certificate will be issued. Recovery certificate will be sent to the society. Society will send this recovery certificate to the SRO. SRO will execute it, and amount will be recovered. These are the provisions. So we'll see, we have seen this. There is not much difference between the old provision and the new provision. There is one more provision which we need to look into. If society fails to apply for a recovery certificate against certain members, registrar may himself, after examining the record, can issue a certificate of recovery against such member after hearing him. So these are the old provisions, but little unknown provisions. House building society, cooperative society which are achieved their objectives. Section 154B30 provides for a deregistration of a society whose objects are achieved. This is very important provision. So how it is important that plot type of societies are there. Bungalows are constructed and street lights and open spaces are handed over to the corporation. Streets and drainage system is maintained by the corporation. In such case, there is no need to keep the society, because plot is held by each and individual member, and all other amenities and all the things are being carried out by the corporation. In such cases, housing society can be deregistered. Plot type. Flat type society cannot be deregistered in my opinion, because flat type society also holds the land on which the building is constructed. So section 30 talks about this. Once the act has come into force, the earlier act is repealed to that extent, but the proceedings pending in various courts under the old act will continue till this conclusion. These are the saving clause. So we have seen the provisions in the act. These provisions are there because housing society needed a special attention. It needed a special act. So the special act is provided. Now we have seen the provisions. After, if time permits, we'll see the questions also. So in the meantime, over to the controller.